Welcome back, folks. Right, so we are back. Let's say we are back at training. Isn't that so exciting? We are certainly having a different type of conversation at the moment compared to what we've had for the last year. The last year was all about clubs staying active behind the scenes, a lot of reaching out to their members, keeping them engaged, keeping them connected, using social media and every possible opportunity to make sure that their members stay there so that when training does come back and matches come back, that they're able to call on their players, on their database to get them back to session. And well, we've already spoken a good word about their getting back into action, and now we're going to speak to Kraaifontein, because yesterday Kraaifontein Rugby Football Club also went back to training. And to tell me a little bit more about that is the assistant coach for Goodwood Rugby Football Club, Ruan Vermaak. Ruan, welcome to Cape Rugby TV.
Hi, thanks JP, good to be here.
Ruan, I just want to check, your scrum half days at Western Province, is that now over?
Scrum half days, no, definitely not that. Yeah, I'll make for a pretty tall scrum half.
But first time for us to have you on the show, how I found out that you guys were back. I mean, of course, Western Province have told us which clubs are busy training and which have gone through the process of applying for the COVID clearance certificate, so to speak, that the clubs are about. But I saw the post on Facebook, because I saw a post on Facebook that said, "Good news, we're back." Am I right? Yeah. Was last night your first training session?
Yes. So we actually last year, at the end of the last year, we already worked very hard to get all of our COVID regulation stuff in place. So our committee really did the stuff there. We submitted to Western Province and we've got a plan ready to go. We try to motivate the guys to maybe add 2 sessions at the end of last year. It didn't go too good, but yes, we started yesterday and we can see a lot of the people are hungry. We got good now field, so yeah, very happy to be back and feel some grass under the feet.
Well, I suppose that's what I mean, we were not there and we would love to have been there, but it must have been thrilling for the players. Just to even drive into the parking lot must have been exciting.
Yes, no, definitely. You can see everybody's excited to be back. Obviously, a little bit of a different setup when you get there. There's a sign-up process you go and a sign-in process where we first scan you. You need to have a mask on at all times, and then once you're cleared and ready to go and on the gate, then the mask can come off, and that's where we have our controlled practice environment.
And then, of course, players are on the field still in isolation. There's no contact. Am I right? There's nothing touching each. There's complete distancing.
Yes. So what we try to do is we try to build different stations, keeping the groups that needs to be together a little bit smaller. And then for now, we're only focusing on strength, conditioning, and getting that stamina back. And maybe putting down a few of that lockdown kilos that was picked up.
Well, you're the assistant coach at Kraaifontein. I mean, obviously you guys are training and thinking about it, and we've been under this sort of system for the last, we're always thinking as if it's going to happen one day, as if there is a game coming up, as if there's a practice session coming up. It's not just a casual scenario. And as the assistant coach, is that something that's concerning you now, that if you look at it, you do have a year of catch up to do, a year of conditioning that you have to squeeze into 4 weeks?
Yes, definitely. And that is very, and the other thing as well, like, we're not sure when we can get any friendlies going, and if there is going to be any friendlies. So your preparation is very limited as to what you can do. But those are the cards that are dealt to us. The same has been dealt to every single club. So it's going to be a very unique year of club rugby, if it is going to happen, which it does sound very positive. But when it does happen, yeah, it's going to be interesting. So happy and looking forward to it.
So give us a little bit of input then. How did it go last night from a player's perspective? I mean, when you were looking at the players, was there much sort of, let's say, adjustment and confusion? Because like you say, the whole process is different. You've got to sign papers, you've got to put a mask on, put a mask off, you've got separate stations. I mean, the environment is completely different. How did the players react to it?
Yeah, so we know the environment's going to be different, and so what we tried to do is we focused a lot of our session to just explaining about the different procedures, so it's not it's a familiar thing when it does happen. So we had a longer, let's say, call it welcoming and admin session to explain all the different systems, what we need to adhere to. The training session itself was a little bit shorter. We only actually had a road session yesterday to just see what are we working with, how bad or how good is it. So we just got a mark to see where we are, and now we can work out a program to build from here. So, but very excited faces, especially the young guys. We've got a lot more young guys that are hungry for rugby to get back on the field.
Ruan, of course, one of the things that normally would have happened about this time of year is clubs would have been recruiting quite a lot. A lot of players maybe would have come from schools and join a club in their area. Of course, last year has basically, you've lost a year. You've lost a year of call it that natural flow from where the proximity schools have just finished schools and they want to join a club. How's the membership looking? Has that been an impact? I mean, have you thought about that?
Yeah, so that's definitely had an impact. We had good numbers yesterday. We had a 40 plus numbers, which is very great. We did lack a little bit of senior players attending, and that's where the recruiting and stuff comes from that you've mentioned. So it has been hard, and I do think it's going to take a while for a lot of the clubs to get back on a level where they're happy with the players they've got and with the numbers. And I think like 3 years ago when we had the drought, there was some adjustments made from Western Province Rugby as well with attendance and stuff from certain players. So I think Western Province might look into doing the same thing again this year, because I really do think some clubs will struggle to fill 3 teams and field the under 20 team.
Well, we'll wait and see what comes out of that. But the flip side is that if everything goes well, maybe so excited that you have too many players. Well, although we can never say we've got. Wouldn't that be great, Ruan? Next steps for you guys now. I'm assuming you've immediately given the guys the days that they're training and what their schedule is.
Yeah, so currently we're only training twice a week. Like we said, we briefed a lot of them yesterday. We're trying to get a fire lighted among the Oaks to obviously spread the word and let anyone know, listen, Kraaifontein is back. Come to the field. There's a lack of art. Be positive. We're focusing mostly on lifting the guys' spirit and getting the conditional levels back up there. And while we're working on that, we'll wait to hear from Western Province when the next phases do open, where we can work on our structural plan and stuff that we want to achieve.
Ruan, I think we'll leave it at that. Super excited to hear that you guys are back. Super excited to hear that your players are able to put their boots on, they get to practice, and we can't wait to see what comes next. And of course, there's been a lot of talk about all the derbies and so on, but we know that that's not on the cards just yet. But we're looking forward to our next conversation being with Kraaifontein about what you guys see as your big derby. So you don't have to let that out just yet, but that is definitely something coming up soon. We're looking forward to that conversation. Ruan, thanks for joining us, and we of course say to you guys, stay safe out there, and we hope to catch up soon.
Thanks, JP. It's been a pleasure.
There we go, folks. Ruan Vermaak is, of course, the assistant coach at Kraaifontein Rugby Football Club. There we go, folks. Another club back to training. A year ago, all in the dark. Now, finally, we're there, where there's a slow return to play. And I remind you, of course, if you are watching right now, that it is under very strict circumstances. There are very controlled guidelines in place, and no player or no club is training at the moment without these specific regulations in place. We'll take an ad break. When we come back from the break, we carry on talking about club rugby. Back in a sec.